So today's a pretty quick lesson, and obviously a quicker class because we have advisory, right? So I'm on page 50. This is 7-4. The 7-3 quiz went really well. If you haven't taken it, get it done. Make sure you bring in the review. If you don't have the review done, make sure you watch the video on the review, which would have been Monday, right?
Yep.
So I think I made the quiz. It was worth 16 points, 8 points front, 8 points back. Average score was like 14.9 out of 16. So nice work. Nice work.
Yeah, it was like 6.
All right. Say earlier this year, we studied probability with contingency tables. So we've done those before. But now we're going to look at this with chi-squared. So they have the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and the Indian Ocean. And you have hurricanes. So you have category 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's neaten this up a little bit so stirrup size don't go goo-goo.
You're doing so well with straight lines, and then you have that one in between 1 and 2.
Do what I can for you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
At least make the
Here, I'll do this. That didn't work. No, don't draw that.
No, I'm not.
I'm so proud of you, Austin. You're a smiling face.
You're gonna repeat it.
Sarah, your freshmen still peel off the posters. I think you're not watching.
I've moved a few of them. They're an anomaly for sure. So you always wondered what society would be like if people could get away with what they want, right?
Yeah.
I think we're living
That's
it.
your classroom, right?
Call parents, hey, your kid's doing this. Well, you obviously don't have control of your class. You're right.
Absolutely, that's totally.
That's the answer.
And it's your child's fault.
You know, COVID was really hard on my child. Their teacher didn't teach them anything. Well, single-digit multiplication happened in 3rd grade, and what COVID didn't happen then.
Yeah.
That was an actual conversation I had.
Parents really think their children are angels.
Yeah.
Austin's parents really think he's a really good person.
All right. So basically, this is talking about category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hurricanes happening in 3 different oceans. You have category 1, you have the total 46, but in the Atlantic, of all the hurricanes, there's 53. There's 110 hurricanes. I'm sure this is made up data. I'm not sure. Let's see. So we wonder if the hurricane is independent on the ocean where it occurs. So do some oceans have more violent hurricanes than others? And it could be likely, could not be. So what we're going to do is we create our null and our alternative. And the intensity is independent. And then the intensity is dependent. That's basically our null and our alternative. Those are the 2 decisions. So then we can do one of 2 things. We can reject the null, so we find strong evidence that the ocean and the hurricane intensity are dependent. Or we can fail to reject the null hypothesis. We fail to find strong evidence that ocean and hurricane intensity are dependent. So again, this is on page 50. And then a chi-square test cannot find evidence for anything more than independence. Okay, so that's kind of key to know. So the chi-squared test is looking for independence in this scenario. Okay. So do you understand kind of what we're looking at with the independence and not in our null? So then we're going to go with, on page 51, they have this expected is going to be the row total. So row goes back and forth, right? Times the column total, which goes up and down, divided by the total. Okay, so if we wanted to look at our information and say, we want to know in the Atlantic Ocean, do they have, just more known for category 1 in those situations. So we have category 1 is 46. So it's that total times the column total for the Atlantic Ocean, which is 53, divided by the overall total, which is 110. And if you do this math, you're going to come out to about 22.2. Okay? So it says, in other words, if the ocean intensities are independent, we would expect 22.2% of the Atlantic Category 1 hurricane. We'd expect 22.2 Atlantic Category 1 hurricanes. We actually counted a bit less, which provides some evidence for the two variables. So then we basic that. So this is looking at basically the percent. Then let me expand my page. So if we look at the chi-squared, remember this is observed minus expected quantity squared over the expected. So that's going to tell us that if you look at the thing, we have the 20 that had actually happened in the Atlantic, subtract the 22.2 quantity squared over the 22.2, and so this is going to give us roughly 0.218 or 21.8% if we wanted to do that. So again, chi-square measures the value, the difference between the actual hurricane count and the count that we expect if the two variables are independent. The higher chi-squared value, the more evidence we have that the two variables are actually dependent upon each other. In the next section, we'll proceed through the rest of the chi-squared test of independence. So that's pretty straightforward, where we're using this information to get the Atlantic Category 1. You have 46 Category 1s. You have 53 Atlantic hurricanes. You have 110 total. That gives you 22.2. So once you find this value goes here. This becomes what the expected would be in the Atlantic. Okay? And then you do the chi-squared test. You find this, which can be converted to that as a percent. So that is pretty straightforward. We're not necessarily running through our TCDF or anything like that, or chi-squared CDF. So that means we can participate in, I would say, why don't we take a look at you attempting page 133, and I bet you could do 1, 2, 3, and 4. That would be all I would have for you for today. Let me mark that down because I'm going to forget. So this is that. So